asked me what the butterfly was the other day. There you go, that's a butterfly. So if you want to try and get into it, I think split time is slightly easier to get into from the perspective of positioning of the hands because they just have to be side by side. But I think if you have a hard time maintaining split time, then it's harder to do. And then for same time, one hand, this is my right hand on top, which probably looks like the left side of your screen. And then this is my left hand on top, my right hand on top. Okay, now if you want to know the physics of how it works, if you look at me from the side and I do nice clean angles, this looks like it's relatively in the same plane. But if I relax the angles, you'll see this one, the bottom one, is tilting at the top away from me, and the top one is tilting in toward me. And when you put it together, that's how they don't hit. But when you straighten out the lines, it's almost imperceptible. Right, so this is sloppy lines. This is straight lines. Much harder to see on the straight lines. A good way to get into it is starting with the split time version so that you can get accustomed to the two poi spinning inside of each other's orbits and keep moving the hands together side by side, because in split time, they don't have to reposition top to bottom relative to each other, and they can literally be side to side, so they don't, I think it's easier for people to control. You basically put the two hands right next to each other, and my hands are really like this, whereas when I'm doing it in same time, one hand is on top and slightly in front. When I'm doing it in slightly in front. When I'm doing it in split time, they're side by side, and neither is in front. The poi are spinning in front of the fingers. And what I would do is I would start like this so that there's no way that they can tangle. You're wide, and then you would just walk your hands in little by little, centimeter by centimeter, closer and closer and closer. And then this is the point where it seems like it's not going to work and it's dangerous, because you see the two poi heads and they look like they're going to hit each other and crash. But if you maintain the timing, they won't. And then you could just keep walk them in, walk them in, walk them in. And I would say if you get here, I would say that qualifies as a butterfly. This I feel like is, not really. But like this, yeah. But this would be a tight butterfly where the two are pretty close to each other. And then once you get that, what I recommend is you pick a hand to be on top, and then you sync them up, and you can start bouncing. You let one hand just catch up to the other, speed it up to catch it up, and then it's on one hand's on top of the other. So this is my left on top. This is my right on top. This is my left on top. My right on top. And then we talked about thread the needle the other day. So this is a thread the needle without particularly stylizing it. All I'm doing is changing the hand that's on top. It's very subtle. It's almost like, why would you even bother doing that other than because it feels good? Whereas this, where you're doing with the arm, has a different presentation effect to it. And I think that's a more traditional expression of a thread the needle, but this is a thread the needle, just less exaggerated arms. There's technique and there's presentation of the technique. Those are different things. I don't like juggling, but I saw a very cool juggling act tonight where the two guys literally strip and redress with their partner's clothing as they're juggling. And they juggled like the clothing pieces and shoes and stuff while they're, it was a good act. It was really entertaining. In overhand, in thread the needle, you push your hand out on top, you drop the hand in the front, and you bring the hand that's closer to you up in the back, and then it's like you're pushing something out on the top of your arm. In underhand, it's the other way. It's like you're grabbing a glove and you're pulling it on. So your top hand is pulling some glove on your hand. You're pulling a glove on your hand, like an up your arm or something. It's a good starting point with it you want to probably try and do with each hand in and out, where you are focusing on the same point in space going in and out roughly. So, and you don't want to be doing this, right? See how this is going out to the side? You want to be aiming, because when I put the two of them together, they're both aiming for the same point out there roughly. So you want to be able to do with each hand this in, out business. And then once you think you have that with the hand where you can comfortably go in and out one rotation each, then what you can do is, starting with his hand in front, try doing one rotation where you add the other hand in. So I'm pushing the other hand out on bottom while I pull this one back. And if I don't move quickly enough, then it'll wrap around this arm, which is why it's called the thread the needle, because you have to thread it through the hole, like the opening. And then so you push out on bottom and pull back on top. And then you would do the same drill where you push out on bottom, but with the other hand. I would try that before putting it together.